Hello stitching friends, welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name is Lauren, also known as Cross Stitch Bunny here on YouTube and also over on Instagram if you follow me there. It's lovely to be filming again this morning. It is the 15th, I had to check then, it is the 15th of March, so just about midway through the month, and typically I only film one Flosstube a month, which I do at the end of the month with a monthly roundup, but I did mention that I wanted to start filming a little more frequently and maybe split my Flosstubes into like a mid-month update and then my usual end of month. So yes, for March I am giving that a go. So this is my mid-month Flosstube. I hope that you enjoy it. I have got a fair bit of stitching done in the last 2 weeks, so I do have quite a few things to show you. I've got a couple of finishes, quite a few new starts to show you also. And for this episode I want to talk about my WIPGO in a bit more detail as well. I have been mentioning WIPGO since January, which is obviously when it started, WIPGO 2022. It's the first time I've done it, and yeah, I am going to talk a little bit about that because I have changed my board again. I set it out in the first instance, and then I did a bit of tweaking on it at the end of last month. So at the end of was it the end of February or the end of January? I can't remember. It was end of January, sorry. So end of January I made a couple of adjustments, but I have given it even more of an overhaul now. Some of the things that were on it, I just decided that basically I didn't want them to be on there, and I did some tweaking around. So as it's mid-month, there's not been a lot that's gone on since my last life update, which was only 2 weeks ago, but we've had a few things going on. So we have had obviously puppies keeping us busy, which I've mentioned before. I have a couple of them here to show you. And here they are. So this is two of my little babies. Not grabbed the whole litter because they are asleep at the moment, which is why these guys are quite sleepy, but I just thought it would be nice for you to see a couple of them because I keep talking about them. And so this is little boy over here and little girl. And yeah, the rest of their litter mates are just having a snooze. They're quite sleepy too because I have just disturbed them to wake them up to make an appearance. But yeah, they're just so cute and so lovely, and we've still got a few weeks left to enjoy them. And yeah, just thought I would let them come and say hello. You can say hello, babies. No, camera shy. We're camera shy. Are we camera shy? Are you? You're so cute. So yes, lots of puppies, and my kids are loving it because they're getting to the stage now where they're getting really playful. So yeah, my little boy and my little girl are just constantly playing with them, like under supervision of course, and yeah, I think the puppies are enjoying that too because they're full of beans, full of mischief, and yeah, so that is puppies, which is probably the main most exciting life update that I have for you, is just these guys. Like I said, they're keeping me really busy. In other news, we are really close now to finding out which school my daughter is going to be accepted into. That's going to be this time next month. It's going to be on the 16th of April, so we've literally got 30 days to find out where she's going to be starting her primary school for the first time. So that's quite exciting and nervous because we've applied for 3 different schools. Not sure which one she's going to end up going to, so we've got our fingers crossed obviously that she gets into our preferred school, but all 3 of them, you know, they're all close, they're all pretty similar. So yeah, excited to find out where she'll be going so that we can be preparing for September and getting her uniform and everything organised. Other than that, life updates, like I said, not much has happened because it's only been 2 weeks. I think the only other excitement that I've got coming up is that I will be going on the April stitching retreat, the Not Only But Also Mirabilia retreat, and I've not got long to wait for that either. I think it's on, I've forgotten the date, it's on my calendar, but I think that's middle of next month as well. So yeah, lots of excitement coming up. Right, I'm just going to put these guys back on their bed and they're chewing me. I'm going to put these guys back on their bed and then we will get on with the stitching. See you in a minute. So onto the stitching. Like I said, I do want to talk quickly about my WIPGO. So I have decided to change quite a few things on it, and this is my newly updated WIPGO board, if you can see it there. So basically green means that it has been called and that I've also completed that goal. Yellow means that goal has not yet been called, but I have completed it. And pink means that they have been called, but I've not yet finished them. So you can see so far we have had six numbers called, and of those 6 numbers I have finished 3. So I have completed the January call for my dictionary of tea. I have completed my January call for my happy winter, and I completed both of those in January, like in the month they were called. But my 2 February goals, one of which was for my Heaven and Earth Design fun full coverage, and then my happy winter again for the second time. Both of my February goals are currently outstanding, but I have completed my March goal to do a new start on my Curious Tiger. And this was an update from my original board. So yeah, I changed that out at the end of January, and I'm glad I did, because coincidentally it is the year of the tiger in terms of the zodiac calendar. It's a Letistitch kit that I got fairly recently that I showed in a previous Flosstube, and I really wanted to start it, so it seemed to make sense to swap that out for something that I'd originally put on my board, because this was more exciting to me. I have finished a couple that have not been called yet. So on my Dragon Koi, I have completed my 2,500 stitches on that, and I have also made a start on my Springtime Love piece, and done the number of hours that I wanted to do on that, which was 10 hours. I was very close to getting that finished when I showed you my last Flosstube 2 weeks ago, and I have now finished that. So I think my board is looking pretty healthy, considering that there's been 6 calls so far. We're still only part way through this month, and even though they've not been called yet, overall I've got 5 things finished, 6 numbers called. I might not necessarily have finished the right things, but as long as I'm roughly getting around 2 things done for every month, I think that I will be on track. So I'll just talk quickly about a couple of the changes I made. I have generally gone through my entire board and just changed out a lot of the goals. So some of the projects I haven't changed, but I've changed the goal that was associated with them. So I had a lot of projects on this that I just, when I set the board up just before January, I just put the goal as a finish without really giving it too much thought. And then in reality, that was just going to be a nightmare and really demotivating, because with as much jumping around as I tend to do between projects to keep myself from getting bored, there was just no way I was going to get things like fully finished if that was the goal. So what I have done is just change out most of my stitching goals to either hours, if it's not on Pattern Keeper, or for things that are on Pattern Keeper where I can digitally track my stitching, then I've done stitch goals. So I won't go through the whole table, but just for example, like my Cornish Folky sampler, which I've not stitched on for a while, I had that on here for a finish, but I've not done much on it. It's quite a big piece, and that was just too ambitious. So I've revised that to 5 hours stitching. The same as with my Bothy Love Autumn Tree project, which you will have seen on plenty of my previous Flosstubes. Again, I just stuck that on the board as finish it. That's just not going to happen. So I've changed that to 5 hours as well. Some projects I had on the board like twice or 4 times, like some of them I had on there 4 times, and there's now no single project that appears more than twice. So the few that I had on there 4 times, I have taken 2 of those goals off and replaced them with new projects. So some of the new projects that I've now got on there, for example, I've got Emma Congdon Designs on here twice. I have 2 of her books, and I have threads and have kind of like kitted up for them, in sense of I've got all the threads sorted for certain projects from those books, and they're all just in like little plastic bags ready to grab to start those projects. All I need to do is like select a fabric from my stash. So yeah, I've now got Emma Congdon, can't see it now, but she's on there somewhere. I've got like Emma Congdon designs on there twice that I can just pick just any Emma Congdon design to start and do 10 hours stitching on those. My tiny modernist one here is also a change because I'd recently, not too recently, but fairly recently, got the patterns for their seasonal band samplers. And of course, when you get something new, you're excited to start on it. So I took something else off and stuck that on there. And yeah, in general, I've just made my goals a little bit less challenging by changing them to hours or stitches instead of just saying I'm going to finish everything. Which was a bit ridiculous. And then finally, two of the most notable projects that I've removed, I did have on here Christmas stockings for both children that I wanted to do, one for my little boy, one for my little girl, and that I wanted to do them from start to finish. And then I just realised, like, seeing how long it actually takes people to stitch stockings, that was ridiculous. And it would also be a lot of Christmas stitching to do in a single year, I think, for me. So I have scrapped those off here, which doesn't necessarily mean that I won't end up starting at least one of them this year, but I'm not putting them on the board like with a specific goal to achieve on them. And like I said, I may still start them, because what I am doing is, like, I know people give themselves different rewards for doing WIPGO. They reward themselves when they get like a full green line in either direction. And I've decided that my reward for any full green line will be the option of like a completely free choice new start. So just doesn't have to be on the board, just whatever I fancy, I can have a new start once I complete an entire row of green. So that does potentially give me 10 new starts that I can do free choice that are not on the board. So I've just got 5 columns this way and 5 the other way, and I'm not counting the diagonals through the middle. I'm just going to keep it simple. So yeah, it's potentially 10 new starts that I could do, and I may pick the stocking for, well, one of the stockings for one of those. But yeah, I just thought having them on here and trying to stitch 2 in a year was just a bit insane, and I hadn't thought it through. So that is my WIPGO update, and I will now move on to my actual stitching. So I have had a few new starts this month. They were not exactly planned. Like in my previous video, I did make reference to the situation in Ukraine at the moment, and I have started a couple of things just in response to that situation. So I've started working on a design from a Ukrainian designer that I recently acquired, and I've also been carrying on with my Ukrainian solidarity sale, which I think I showed you at the end of last month, but I have made some more progress on that. So let's have a look at those. First up, I have my finishes, because that makes sense. So I have finished my Wise Old Owl. There it is. So this was close to a finish in my last video, and it is now complete, and I love it. Very happy with how this has turned out. All the little owls are just so cute. I love the saying on it, all the words, and this was a lovely, easy to do stitch. I thoroughly enjoyed every bit of it. It was a really relaxing one to just pick up when I was maybe a bit tired. This is a kit that you can buy. It is current kit. It is by the Historical Sampler Company, and yeah, so everything that you need comes with it. It is called Wise Old Owl, and I did say in my last Flosstube that I was stitching this on 14, but that's not actually correct. I made a mistake. This is on the 16 count aider that comes in the kit. So yes, have a finish. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I did previously mention that I'm not framing too many things at the moment because we are hoping to move house this year, but that plan may have changed, so I may end up framing this at some point soonish, we'll see. My next finish is only a small, and this was also a new start for this month. So this is a little card kit just for you. If it's focusing there, because it's focusing on me. So yes, this is my just for you little card. A little sheep with the balloons. This is very sweet, and I started this completely at random just because I just had a couple of days where I was wanting to stitch but just not seeming able to focus on any of my larger projects at all. And yeah, I just thought I would pick up something small to do. So this is a Lucy Heaton design, and it was a little freebie cover kit from a magazine that's called like Cross Stitch Card Shop, I think is the magazine that's from, but unfortunately I don't know which issue it's from. I know it's quite old because I've just had it in my stash for quite a long time. So yeah, I'm not sure where you could get this from because I can't tell you the issue number, but that is the magazine that it was included as a freebie kit with. So it's just a simple little design stitched on 14 count and threads that came with the kit. So yeah, that is my little card, and like it's designed to be sent as a card, so it comes with its own cute little mount, but I thought that I'll probably have it in this mount and then put it in like a little frame or something again at some point, or I might just scrapbook it, which is something I've not spoken about, but a few months ago, like at the end of December, I actually bought myself like some portfolio folders, I think in A3 size or maybe A2, I think it's A3, and you know, not everything you want to frame or fully finish, and especially with me being a serial non-fully finisher, like I don't tend to fully finish things into loads of objects. I would still like to do something with my finishes that doesn't just mean they're shoved in a box. So I've not had time to actually start putting them together yet, but I have bought a couple of like big art folders, and then I've bought like the A2 or the A3 card that can go into each like slot in those. They've got like all the plastic wallets inside, and my plan is that a lot of small things like this I may like arrange on those pages and maybe like make the backgrounds pretty with some like scrapbooking things, or like stamping, embossing, those kind of things. Like I've not thought too much about it yet, but I've got like the bare bones of the materials to start putting that together. And yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to have like a display folder with a lot of my smaller bits, so this may end up in there. So that is both my finishers, including one new start. I'll just check my notes. Yeah, so another new start for this month. So I mentioned that I had started another kind of Ukraine inspired piece, and that would be this one. So I've got a lot done considering that it is a brand new start. This is by a Ukrainian designer from a shop on Etsy called the Shashuda store. I will link that below. It's not a shop that I had come across before. I think I found it on one of the posts on Facebook where people were listing different designers. So it was lovely to discover a new Etsy shop that had things that I liked, and this was one of the patterns that I picked. So it is just like a wreath with love written inside it, which I thought was nice and also like appropriate for the situation, like sending everyone in Ukraine our love. I've started on the foliage around it. I opted to do this in DMC number 32 just as a single colour piece. It was done in white on like the mock-up generated for the pattern, but I liked the idea of doing it in a colour that was not white, so I've chosen to do it in this purple colour, and I am stitching this on 28 count natural beige linen from my own website stock. It's a really nice linen. I'm not a huge linen stitcher. It's only something I've really ventured into quite recently. I started with my Mirabilia being stitched on linen, and that is going well and I'm enjoying it, but That one is a bit more uneven. There's some more slubs in it and stuff, and whereas this, like, it does have some slubs, but I'm just finding it nice to work on. I think I will stitch some more things on this in the future. So yeah, this is my new start. I am tracking this on Pattern Keeper, and I have already done like well over 65%, and might even now have broken the 70% mark. I can't quite remember, but I'm powering through this, and it's just a really easy one to pick up because obviously there's no colour changes, and Pattern Keeper always makes things faster as well, I find, to stitch. So yeah, I don't think this one will take me too long to finish. It's not on my WIPGO, like I said, it was an unplanned start, but I am enjoying it, so I'm making time for that one. Also in the way of new starts, I have my Letty Tiger, which I had mentioned to you. So I'm absolutely loving this. This is a kit. The fabric that it comes with is Easy Grid, and this is the first time I have ever used a pre-gridded fabric. Yeah, I've never done that before. I am finding that it is like, yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure that I'll like start using it specifically for loads of other things, but the fact that this came with it was just a happy coincidence. So I've been able to try it out. This is a 16 count, which I'm really enjoying for this full coverage piece, and this is coming on so much quicker than my first full cover. So my first full coverage piece, which I will show you in a minute, is my Heaven and Earth design that I started a couple of months ago now, and that is on 25 count, and it is a lot slower going than this. Yeah, I just find with the 16 count and the 2 strands, this is just coming together nice and quickly for the amount of time I've spent on it. I just think all the colours in this, apologies, I don't think my camera is focusing very well today. I just think all the colours in this are so beautiful, and this is my tiger's ear, if you can see. So this is the start of the ear of the tiger, and that will be down more to his face and his body. But I'm just really loving the fact that I'm already getting into the detail on this pattern. I think that also is like spurring me on with it, because with my Heaven and Earth one, I'm just stuck on like a blob of background sky at the moment, and I know that I'll eventually get to the detail, but I don't know, this just seems a little more rewarding. It's full coverage but a much smaller pattern, and I am just really enjoying the fact that I'm starting to actually see the picture already. So yeah, loving this new start. This is on my WIPGO, it was called for, and I have finished the goal of 2,500 stitches, so pleased with that. Next, I will just move on to a few things that I have been making progress on. So I think I have 4 other things to show you. Yeah, 4 things to show you. The first one, which I'm not going to spend too much time on, is my Springtime Love piece by Corey El Batikor. This won't look much different from the previous at all, because I had the WIPGO goal on this for 10, which hasn't been called yet, but I was very close to completing those 10 hours, and I literally just did about an extra 20 minutes on it just to hit that goal, so I could tick it and like put it yellow on my board. So yeah, there's not too much progress. I think I've just like extended this branch up a little, and yeah, that's probably about it. Or it could have been this branch, I can't remember which one I did first, but it was one of the branches I just kind of continued with to box off that bit of extra time to hit my 10 hours. This is being stitched on like a 14 count, just Ada. I'm stitching it with all the called for colours, and I am loving it. This is really, really fun to stitch. Something I have made a little bit more progress on is my elephant, who I should have taken out of the frame and I've not, but I'm not going to struggle to do it now. But I hope that you can see he is coming together a lot more. So we've now got, so there's all the snow here that it sat on. I just think the image is becoming clearer. So he sat on all this snow. This is the tail here, and the most noticeable change in the stitching I've put in so far in the last couple of weeks is the pink, because there was no pink on here before. So I have now started to do the pink here, which is around his foot. and his cheek here. And then I have also just done a lot of filling in general in the body. So I've just been working in loads of different greys. So there's loads of gaps that keep getting left all over the place, and I've just been concentrating on like filling in gaps. So a lot of the gaps have become smaller. All this white, which is B5200 all around here, was all little gaps before, and I've started filling in like the snowy bits on his body. I've also done some work down here on this rabbit, and switch over there. Here as well, I've started to do this other rabbit. So yeah, I'm pleased with how this is going and it's looking really good. I have said before, and it is still true, that doing so much grey on grey can be a bit tedious at times, but so far I had this on my WIPGO board for January for 5,000 stitches. That was heavy going, but I did it within that month. For February, I was just a bit fatigued from having worked on this so intensely in the January, and I just kind of put it aside for Feb, even though it had been called, and I think either put no stitching into it or minimal stitching. But I've picked it up again this month after having that rest, and I am catching up with that February goal. So that was for another 5,000 stitches, and I think I've done about half of it. So yeah, I've added like 2,500, and I've got about the same number still to go to tick this one off. But I'm enjoying it a bit more again now after having a break. I just couldn't face it in February. I wanted to work on something a bit more colourful. This is being stitched on 14 count grey Ada. This design is, I believe, I think this is by a Russian designer. I'm not sure that you'll be able to buy this at the moment, obviously with all the sanctions and everything going on with Etsy. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the Russian shops have been temporarily placed on hold, like they're shut down for now and they just can't sell, which personally, like I understand, and obviously I'm very much behind any efforts to help Ukraine, but I do also feel sympathy towards individuals and Russian designers that, you know, spend a lot of time making lovely patterns who don't necessarily, I would hope that they don't agree with what's going on at the moment. I know that a lot of Russian people do not, and yeah, I know that a few people are boycotting Russian designers at the moment, as in just choosing not to stitch their patterns or stopping working on things that they were working on that were designed by Russian designers. But you know, as close as I feel to the situation in Ukraine with my own Ukrainian heritage, I don't feel that that is something I need to do. I don't feel that I need to boycott the designs of Russian designers that are already in progress or already in my stash, and I don't necessarily think what's going on is representative of their views. So I will be continuing to stitch on this piece. Speaking of all that, it's probably a good time to grab my Ukrainian solidarity piece. So I am getting there with this. This is a mini full coverage, or I did explain it's actually not a full coverage. There are technically negative spaces where the white is, but I will be making it full coverage because I plan to fill those in. So this is that piece. I am really enjoying stitching this. The one thing I'm not enjoying about this is now that I've had to remove the hoop to get close to these edges, I am having to stitch in hand, and I have injured my left hand a bit, and that is the hand, you know, that I hold it in while I'm stitching with my right hand, and that is partly why I've not made as much progress on this as I would like. It's not because I have not wanted to stitch on it, but stitching without a frame at the moment for me and holding it with this hand for any length of time, I am struggling with a little bit. Like, it is cramping up my hand and making it hurt quite a lot. So I've just been doing like no more than 20-25 minutes on this, and then I just have to put it down and work on something with a frame because my hand is just not coping well with it at the moment. So yeah, I do hope to keep ploughing on with this. I will be ploughing on with it, but it is just a little bit slower than I would like because my hand just is not cooperating. I don't know if anyone else has had that. I'm actually pretty sure, like, I don't think it's a stitching related injury that I've got. I did something to my hand when I was peeling potatoes, of all things. I don't know how it happened, but I just felt like this horrible pain suddenly here, like a popping or a snapping pain. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear if something popped because I was in the kitchen and the extractor was on and it was noisy, but the pain I felt just in this particular part of my hand was just awful. That was a few weeks ago and I'm still struggling with it. I like to think it's improving a little bit, but yeah, just stitching in hand is just aggravating that, so I'm trying not to do too much of that. But yeah, I will be making progress on this regardless. I just have to take it easy and pick it up for short bursts. This is a free pattern. I will link it again as I did on my last video, so you can join in with that if you like it. And I am just stitching this on 14 count white Aida. The last thing that I have to show you is my Heaven and Earth design. So I'll just quickly, because it's quite a big picture, so I'll pop up the picture of how it should look in the end when I've finished it years from now. So that is the design I'm working on. It is called Eventide by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I'm stitching it on this big frame, and you can see I have made a little bit of progress, I hope. Now I'm going to try and put this close to the camera, but my camera is just not focusing very well today, so we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I'm in this top corner. I think that's as good as it's going to get. So I'm in this top left corner where I've started and have made quite a bit of progress on this. I have had this cord on my WIPGO twice now. I had it cord in January. No, that's not right. Sorry. No, I had it cord in February. And then I had it cord in March, so it's been cord 2 months in a row, and the goal for both of those was 5,520 stitches, so a total of over 10,000 stitches that I am trying to complete on this, and I have not done anywhere near that, but I'm approaching, I think, around 3,000. I could be totally wrong on that. I should have checked on my pattern keeper, but yeah, I've still not completed even one of those 5,000 stitch goals yet. Really wish that my camera would cooperate more. I'm so sorry, but you can see I've started adding a few more colors in here, and this is just like a gray patch of like clouds, I think, and then the moon is going to be here. And I did mention in my last video that part of the reason I've not been progressing very fast with this and I'm a bit disheartened with it was the issue I was having with the metallic threads. I have had another think about that, and instead of doing the half cross that I'd considered doing just for the metallic stitches, I just thought it might look a bit strange with the rest of it being done in full cross. I have decided to go ahead and buy the Krynic threads that are actually called for the number 4 braid, and I'm hoping that it is like a lot finer. I think, well, it is. I've got plenty of Krynic in my stash for like mirabilias and stuff, and it is a much finer braid than the anchor that I had bought as a substitute for this when I couldn't get the Krynic at the time that I was kitting up. I bought an anchor substitute. It's a nice metallic thread. If I was working it on like 14 count or something, it would be absolutely fine, but it just doesn't work for this 25 count. So I have gone ahead and managed to like having a search again, because it was months ago that I kitted this up, and I've now had a search, and there was a shop that did have the number of spools that are required. They had that colour in stock, so I've gone ahead and bought it. I've now got all this anchor metallic that I don't know what I'm going to do with, but I'm sure over time I can just use it to add a bit of sparkle, maybe to like winter designs and stuff. And I have an Emma Congdon pattern that is the World is Filled with Magic one from the Stitch for the Earth book. You may have seen other people stitching it. It's got like all like narwhals and whales and seals, I think, and loads of ocean animals. I'll pop a picture up even though I'm not working on it, so that you know what I'm talking about and I don't just sound like I'm babbling on. So yeah, I'm planning on stitching this at some point. I may well pick this up as a whip for my WIPGO when I get one of those Emma Congdon squares cord, and like that one I know has like some metallic DMC, like the light effects threads called for, so might be able to sub one of those out for the anchor and just get through using some of that anchor because I don't want to waste it. But yeah, that is my project, my progress on this project. This is the first full coverage I've ever started, as I previously mentioned, but I doubt it will be the first I finish. Like, I would definitely finish my Curious Tiger before I get even close to finishing this. That is all my stitching over the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I feel like I've got quite a good amount done, considering I'm just adjusting my position. I've filmed in another different place again today, just going off topic. I'm now on my comfy beanbag because I just thought, why not? I am in my favourite Flosstube jumper that featured in episode 1 and 2. I thought it was due a reappearance. But yeah, so that is all my stitching. I feel like it's quite a lot of progress for 2 weeks. I'm pleased. Like I said, we've had a lot going on. Puppies keeping us busy, children keeping me busy, lots going on. So yeah, I'm really happy with how much I have managed to squeeze in. I am going to finish off with a little bit of haul. So I'm just thinking there. I'm thinking, like, so we've done finishes. We've got no fully finished objects, which is standard for me. I barely ever show anything fully finished. So I've done my finishes, done my new starts, my other whips. Yeah, so just haul to finish with. I've not got anything physically to hold up here and show you, but I have done a little bit of shopping in support of Ukrainian designers. As I mentioned, that love piece is one of those patterns. I'm not going to go through every pattern individually because it'll just make this video unnecessarily longer than it needs to be, but I will just say that I have been doing a bit of shopping specifically with supporting Ukrainian designers in mind, and we'll just flick through here a selection of the patterns that I have purchased from various different shops. I will put a little list of links in the video description so that you can just see the different shops that I have shopped at. So yeah, any of the patterns that you were seeing here have come from that selection of shops that will be linked. And yeah, go and have a browse and see if there's anything that maybe you like. I know that the support at the moment is most appreciated, and also the designs are lovely. Like, there's so many different designs to pick from. I had to kind of pace myself because my stash is already too big, as I'm sure everyone's is, with too many patterns. Especially, like, patterns are so easy to collect, aren't they? You can just, you know, go on a bit of an Etsy binge or whatever, buy a bunch of patterns, and I don't know, almost like forget your digital pattern store. Like, it's easy, I think, when I look through my kits and things like that I've got, it's easy to kind of check yourself and be like, right, that drawer is getting a bit full. You know, I can't fit any more in that drawer, so I don't need any more kits till I finish some of these. But I think with digital patterns, it's just easy to amass quite a lot without even realizing that you're doing it, and it's also really easy to lose them. I have noticed a few people post on Instagram recently, or it might have been Facebook, saying that they have previously purchased patterns on Etsy, and then I think they hadn't immediately downloaded them and maybe were just like going to download them when they actually get around to stitching them. And then I believe that some people have now had problems actually retrieving those patterns. If they were bought like a while ago, they've found that the downloads are not working. Like I said, that's not a personal problem that I have experienced, it's just something I've seen recently. But the point I was trying to make is that I always try and keep track of the digital patterns that I have bought, and I do that by downloading them immediately and then just putting them all in a file on my computer. And I also email a copy of each one to my email, literally just to a dedicated email just for keeping track of digital patterns. So yeah, every pattern that I buy that's digital, there's a copy on my computer. If my computer dies, there is a copy somewhere floating around in cyberspace on my email account that I can access, obviously, from any device if my computer with like the main copies were to break. So yeah, just an idea if you struggle to keep on top of your digital pattern stash, or do you find that that works for me? Because then I can just go into that specific email account. I don't use it for anything else. I just email myself a PDF copy of every pattern. So they're not in any order in there. I'm not that organised, but just every time I buy one, email a copy and then it's there. So yeah, if I decide that I need to have a little look at how many digital patterns I have to get through that I've not stitched yet, I can just kind of go into that inbox, look at the number of emails to myself, and just kind of keep track of how many digital patterns I have bought, because it's so easy to overbuy on them. That is everything from me for today. I hope that you have enjoyed what you've seen. If you have any particular favourites from the stitching that I've shown you today, let me know. I would like to say thank you again to everyone that has subscribed to my channel so far. You know, I'm a relatively new channel, I'm a small channel, and every new subscriber is really appreciated, makes me really happy. I would love to graduate from the under 1,000 subs club, so if you guys want to help me with that, hit the subscribe button. It's much appreciated. Like this video, comment, let any of your stitchy friends know about my channel if you think they also might enjoy it, and everybody really take care. I look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks' time. Bye everyone.